Is your Asperger's child's misbehavior truly deliberate, willful, or manipulative? You may be surprised. Children with Asperger's and high-functioning autism often exhibit different forms of challenging behavior. It is imperative that these behaviors are not seen as willful or malicious. More accurately, they should be viewed as connected to the child's disorder and treated as such by means of therapeutic and educational strategies, rather than by inconsistent punishment or other disciplinary measures that imply the assumption of deliberate misbehavior. Parents and teachers need to recognize the difficulties that the youngster with Asperger's or high-functioning autism brings to each situation as a result of his or her neurologically based disorder. Common traits of these special needs children include the following: a need for predictability and routine, a tendency to respond based on association and memory, which leads the youngster to repeat familiar behaviors even when they produce consistently negative results, an overly reactive sensory system that makes ordinary noise, smell, or touch irritating or intolerable, considerable difficulty organizing himself to do something productive in undirected play activities, in stimulating public situations, or when waiting. Emotional responses that are apt to be extreme and are often based on immediate events, leading to rapid changes, for example, from laughing to screaming. Lack of embarrassment or concern about other people's impressions of them. Limited ability to recognize another person's perspective or opinion or to empathize with others. Poor recognition of public versus private behavior. Problems shifting attention. Problems transitioning from one activity to another. Recovery from emotional upset is often immediate once the problem is removed, but for some kids on the spectrum, irritability and secondary upsets can continue for hours. Significant difficulties with understanding language, especially in group situations. These traits are not the result of poor parenting or poor teaching. Also, they are not deliberate, willful, or manipulative behaviors. They are simply common traits of kids on the autism spectrum. Create some specific interventions that help with the challenging behaviors whenever the behaviors arise. Here are just a few examples of appropriate interventions. Instructional intervention. This is used with a child who already wants to change his behavior but simply doesn't know how. This is one of the easier behavior intervention strategies because you simply need to tell the child what to do and how to do it. Once he has this information, he can change his behavior on his own. Positive reinforcement. This is a good behavior intervention technique because it doesn't even recognize the negative behavior. To positively reinforce a child, you just tell her that she is doing a great job or otherwise reward her whenever she does the right thing. This creates a situation where she associates the right thing with a good outcome and has no such association with the wrong thing. This helps to positively change behavior without having to punish, yell, or otherwise negatively reinforce behaviors. Negative reinforcement. This is the opposite of positive reinforcement. Rather than positively reinforce the correct behaviors, negative reinforcement reinforces the incorrect behaviors. This is good for more serious issues. For example, if the youngster consistently climbs on the counter next to a pot of boiling water, you need to negatively reinforce that behavior immediately because the consequences of knocking over the pot are so dire. Examples of negative reinforcement include stern words, loss of privileges, and other forms of discipline. Supportive intervention. This is when the child needs help reinforcing a behavior. She may know it, theoretically, but she may not always apply it, as it is not yet internalized. So, supportive intervention is when the child is gently guided through positive and negative feedback. It is different from other forms of behavior intervention because it has a specific spot in the behavior management cycle, specifically after the behavior has been learned, but before it is consistently applied. Most Asperger's-related behavior, sometimes misinterpreted by parents as misbehavior, tends to revolve around the child's resistance to any kind of change. An Asperger's child is resistant to change because he has anxiety about a current or upcoming event, for example, the start of school. He does not understand how the world works. He does not understand the actions of others. He has other issues like ADHD or oppositional defiant disorder. He is reluctant to participate in an activity he cannot do perfectly or an activity that is difficult. The parent or teacher changes a circumstance or rule that has been established. He has the need for instant satisfaction and may not understand delayed gratification. He has the need to control the situation. He has the need to keep doing the activity that he likes. And he has difficulty transitioning to another activity. Any or all of these triggers can result in certain behavioral patterns that look like misbehavior, for example, arguing, tantruming, and refusing to listen. However, his responses to these triggers have more to do with anxiety and rigidity than his need to defy authority. He simply does not have the ability to understand the world like we do.